Hey guys, it's Miss Madison, back again for another Elements of Art video. Today we're going to be talking about form. This is going to play off of a lot of things that we've already talked about, which is kind of the cool thing about the Elements of Art. Whether you intend on it or not, every piece of art that you're making is incorporating some element of art. At least one, but probably, almost definitely, multiples of them. Even with form, we are looking at basic shapes, but just how we used line and value to create texture, which was another element of art, we're going to be using all of those things to do the same thing with form. It's how we're going to take a square and turn it to a cube, and it's how we're going to take a triangle and turn it into a pyramid. So in addition to using value and line, another thing to remember is we are taking a 2D shape, so something that only has height and length, and we're turning it into something that is 3D, something that's going to have height, length, and depth. Depth is going to be the most important one that we're going to be trying to show today using value and using line. Now, some of our basic standard shapes we've talked about our square, our circle, and our triangle. Well, some of our standard forms that we're going to be talking about, which are playing off of a lot of those shapes, are going to be our cube and our pyramid. Our sphere we did in the value video, we're going to do that again today. And then we're also going to talk about a cylinder and a cone. So in a lot of my videos, I have just been using a mechanical pencil. Just by varying the pressure that you put on the paper, you can still get a wide variety of different values. But today I do want to talk about some drawing pencils that we can also use to get an even broader range of values and really get in there with our mid-grays and our mid-values. So if we look at this right here, if we start off right in the middle by looking at our HB, you think of that as more of a central point. This is kind of a good middle balance, regular writing pencil sort of pressure. Now how it varies is the ones on the H side have a harder lead. So their pencil tip is more compact together so that when we apply it to the paper, not a lot of it breaks off. So this is going to give us a lighter look. So for areas and highlight, I would stick to more of my H's. With my 6B pencil, a lot more of the lead comes off the top, so that when I put it on the paper, applying that same amount of pressure, I can still get an even darker value, because more of that lead is getting put on the paper, so we get darker. So starting off with my cube, I start by drawing a square, and then I draw 3 diagonal lines coming off from those corners. I then use a vertical and a horizontal line to then connect those corners and to make a cube. I'm really focusing on building up the values by starting off with a light shade using my 2B pencil. I'm still focusing on my highlight, my midtones, my core shadow areas. So the top plane is going to be the highlight because all of these forms, my light source is going to be coming from the same area. So that's going to be where the highlight hits, that front face is going to be where the midtones are, and that back face is going to be more of the core shadow. I'm going back and forth between the 2B and the 6B, which is one of the darkest pencil leads. I'm doing that both for the pyramid and the cube to build up the dark values. My pyramid, I drew it the very similar way. I drew a triangle, and then I drew a diagonal line coming off from one corner, and then connecting it with a diagonal line coming off from the opposite corner. My sphere, we've done this before in the value video. Miss Elizabeth also did it in her color video. And it's going to have a lot of influence on the two that I'm drawing right here, the cone and the cylinder. A lot of that shadow, that core shadow, is going to be coming up from the center point. Since it is a rounded figure, we're going to see more of that reflected light that we didn't really have as much on the pyramid and on the cube. So we're going to have that reflected light coming off from both sides on the cone and from the cylinder. And then when I get to my cylinder, the top plane, just like our cube, is going to be the highlighted area, because that's going to be the spot where the light source is hitting it the most directly. And then when I get to my cast shadow, I'm going to make sure that it still follows the same shape of the form that I am drawing. Just like if you look at the cone and the pyramid, those come to more of a point because that's the shape of the cone and the pyramid. So here are our forms all finished. Hopefully you could see how I took just our basic shapes, especially with the sphere, the cube, and the pyramid, how I just took our basic shapes and using value, turn them into something that is a little bit more three-dimensional. Definitely something to practice more of. Practice from the light source coming from different angles. Maybe instead of the highlight being over here, the highlight's over here. It's a really good thing to really know and master when you start to do your own drawings and use a lot of this knowledge into turning your art pieces into something that you feel proud and happy about. Alright, that is it for today, and that is it for form. Tomorrow is going to be our very last element of art video. It's going to be on space, so I will see you then. Bye.